NASCAR has denied the rumor that they will not be racing in Mexico City in 2025 and instead would be racing at the Daytona Road Course, and plans are still to race at Mexico City in 2025. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel and welcome back to our video. We got to talk about a pretty massive rumor that's been going around over the course of the last 24 hours. So last night, the NASCAR Rumor and Nostalgia account had posted a very interesting rumor late last night around 12 Eastern Standard Time going into midnight. They had posted a rumor about the future of the Mexico City NASCAR Cup Series event. They said, late night wall rumor post around the Cup and Xfinity garage. The rumor is spreading quick that NASCAR may not be going to Mexico this year after all. Instead, we could be seeing more racing on the Daytona Road Course that weekend instead of Mexico City. I've even heard that some teams are already looking to book hotel rooms in Daytona for that weekend. Now, that rumor had really grown very quickly, and it was taking storm very quickly, especially on Twitter after that had surfaced on X, aka Twitter. However, we have seen a lot of reporters coming out and basically saying that NASCAR has denied the rumor. Matt Weaver was the first one to report by saying, first heard about this on Atlanta weekend and asked around. I've been told by multiple team people that it's not impossible to see that scenario, but that it's also unlikely and overblown. The consensus in the garage is that it's plain telephone. And a couple hours later, Bob Pockers was also able to respond by saying, there have been few rumors for several weeks that the Mexico City race won't happen, even though NASCAR brought drivers to Mexico last week and had Mexican media at COTA this past weekend. I talked to NASCAR this morning. They are adamant that the Mexico race is good to go. So there you go. NASCAR confirmed it. And also continue on, Bob Pockers put out not much after by saying rumors of Mexico race not happening likely stem from the current state of relations between the two countries. And there are some in the garage who have anxiety about going, just like there was some, maybe not to an extent, about racing in Chicago. He fully expects it to happen. So there you go. NASCAR has denied that rumor going on. Now, usually the NASCAR Rumor Nostalgia account gets everything right, or usually 9 times out of 10, they do get things right. Now, I had seen some people in the industry, and some people said that they spoke to other members of the industry, and they had said that there was actually a lot of truth to these rumors. Now, what I think is actually going on here is that this is probably a backup plan in case this race is not to happen. But it would be very and incredibly unfortunate if this race was not to happen, because NASCAR spent millions upon millions of dollars. On top of that as well, they had Daniel Suarez, Chris Bell, Chase Elliott, and Ryan Blaney down there just last week or a couple weeks ago promoting the sport and trying to grow the sport and get the Mexico race up. On top of that, I believe the president of the race was at Daytona, and they had a lot of people from Mexico that were at Daytona, and they said interest for the event was really far up. I'm not going to get into the political side of things, but obviously there's been a lot of stuff going on in regards to tariffs, among other things, that have been really coming into effect. Now, obviously, there's a lot of people in the industry, some, I'm not going to mention names, but some that are adamant they're not a big fans of the Mexico City race, and this is probably where this rumor has come up. But I do think there is some legs and some truth in a little bit to these rumors, even though I still think that this race is going to go ahead and go. If you want my opinion on this situation, I want to see the Mexico City race happen because I think it'd be really good for the sport as a whole. There's not been a NASCAR Cup International race, at least a points-paying event, since 1958 at Toronto, and there, of course, has not been a race outside the United States for the Cup Series in any way, shape, or form since he raced in Japan from the mid to late 1980s, from 1996 all the way to the end of 1998. We all remember the Thunder Special that happened in 1996, I believe it's Suzuka, and then, of course, some of the race at Twing Ring Motegi in 1997, 1988. I believe Jeff Gordon never won one of those races, but I believe Rusty Wallace won the first one there, and then, of course, Mike Skinner won the other 2 events that took place in Japan. And obviously, there were rumors a couple years ago about them going to Canada, which they didn't end up happening in 2024. But I think it'd be really good for the economy as a whole. Now, I think that this Daytona Road Course situation, like I said, is a major backup plan in case things like this go on. Very similar to what happened during COVID when they had to move some of the races from California to the East Coast and had to run at the Daytona Road Course. I believe that the Auto Club race had moved to the Daytona Road Course in 2021. And NASCAR probably has a pretty major backup plan just in case. Now, if things do change and NASCAR has to change their mind in this situation, it would be a pretty massive L for NASCAR currently at the moment. They're obviously in a lawsuit right now with 2311 and Front Row Motorsports, among other things, and some people don't have the biggest perception of the sport. It would be a major disappointment in any way, shape, or shape, or form if this ended up coming true. But at least as of right now, at this particular moment and point, it does seem like that the NASCAR Mexico race is still going to happen. And I said a minute ago, I want to see an international NASCAR Cup Series date. As much as I do love the grassroots side of things, going back to tracks like Rockingham, going back to North Wilkesboro, I'm also in support of expanding internationally. We heard rumors a couple years ago about him going to Interlagos, and even earlier this year we heard rumors about it. That doesn't sound like it's fully happening. Sounds like the Clash is going to go back to Bowman Gray. But I think that having a race in Mexico City, especially when you have a driver like Daniel Suarez, who is from Mexico City, that is going to be a big event for him. If they were to lose the Mexico City date, it would certainly be really, really disappointing. But it sounds like right now, at the moment, this event is full speed ahead. And I think that it needs to happen. And I really hope it doesn't happen where the race doesn't end up happening, because I think the race will be massive for NASCAR. It will grow. It will be one of the most viewed road course races we've seen in a very, very long time. I get it's going to be on Amazon, so that might hurt it a little bit, but you're still going to have a lot of interest in this event. This is going to be one of the most popular road course races that we are going to see in a long time. And I think that, especially since NASCAR has not raced in Mexico since 2008, when the Xfinity Series ran there from 2005 to 2008. Mark Truex Jr. won the first one. Denny Hamlin won the second one, while Montoya got his first NASCAR national win in 2007 at that track. And then, of course, Kyle Busch won the final one in 2008. I think that this race really needs to happen, and I hope it does end up truly happening. It seems like NASCAR's pretty adamant that they're going to get this figured out, and they're not going to have any issues, which that's the most important thing, is figuring out how to make sure this event doesn't have any issues going forward. I'm glad that NASCAR's come out and denied it, because this rumor was spreading very, very quickly last night on social media, but I didn't want to address the situation and address the rumor that was going on until there's more factual information that came out about the event. I'm so excited for the race as a whole. It's one event that I was really excited to see. It's why it took the schedule so long to come out in the first place. And if they were to move it to the Daytona road course, that would be very, very disappointing. But it seems like at this particular moment in point, the rumor is not true in any way, shape, or form. Well, it might actually be a little bit true, but it doesn't seem like it's factual at this time, though things can change. We're 3 months away, and I think it'd be really late in the game. We're at the 9th hour at this point, because the event's happening in 3 months. It would be definitely incredibly unfortunate if this race was not to happen this year, because they have a 3-year contract, to my understanding, through 2027 with the event itself as a whole. So that is going to be today's special breaking news report on the NASCAR Mexico City Cup race. One thing, guys, for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, does go live on my channel. Follow me through Facebook and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Let's go below that and comment your thoughts below on today's episode. What are your thoughts about the NASCAR Mexico City rumor that's been going around over the course last day? And do you think there's any truth to it, or do you think it's not true at all? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And are you still excited about the Mexico City race as a whole? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow on the channel, you're going to see reactions to Xfinity and Cup qualifying. We'll talk about reactions to that. We're going to do the Xfinity Series race review as well. Then on Sunday, we're going to have the starting lineup video for the Shriners Children 500 at Phoenix, and we also are going to do the Cup review as well, and probably a Shane Van Gisbergen video probably as well, if he does really well at Phoenix. And then, of course, on Monday, we'll talk about some Dodge rumors that have been coming up as of late. We'll talk about Catherine Legg a little bit. We'll talk about some other manufacturer talk, Haley Deegan, Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch, because we got to talk about Kyle Busch a little bit this week, Connor Zillish, Junior Motorsports, Red Bull, Ross Chastain, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Bubba Wallace, 2311 front row, the lawsuit with the court date being announced for May the 9th. We'll talk about all that on the channel of Carlos, Kurt Busch 2, Catherine Legg, Clay Safar, Matt Vendetta, all the good stuff we'll be talking about on the channel relatively soon. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.